Happy 4th of July, all you sorry suckers. We canceled the show last night because, I figured everyone would be out celebrating rather than just being losers like me sitting at home doing nothing all night. Because they canceled our fireworks here in Utah. Those sacks of crap. If you haven't heard, Utah has been in basically a record-breaking drought, hasn't it, babe?
Very, very bad. Certain
If
areas,
not, very close.
But certain areas, people are concerned how they're supposed to water their cattle, water their horses. I think it's Emery County.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very concerned, and they've been saying you have to be even more restrictive.
Yeah, so they've been super restrictive on fireworks. They basically banned them across the state, but the BLM did open up the salt flats because, well, there's nothing to catch on fire there because it's all salt, and that's it. Like, if you ever want to see the salt flats, just go watch a Toyota commercial. They're on the salt flats.
Plus, Independence Day, when Will Smith's jogging across that white vast land, that's supposed to be the salt flats too.
Oh, is that?
I'm pretty sure.
Is that in the movie Independence Day as well?
When
he's dragging the alien across, is that in the salt flats?
Yeah, and apparently it was actual improv with him complaining about a smell because some kind of weird smell was wafting across the flats at that time.
I've heard there can be weird smells out there.
Just pure salt.
It's just salt. It's nothing special. It is cool to see because it's pretty flat and you can see way off into the distance because there is nothing growing there to block your view.
They love to use it for racing, just try to test out the fastest cars.
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff out there, actually. That's the thing, is because it's so naturally flat for so long, they can test high-speed cars out there all the time.
Hopefully everyone cleaned up their trash so they don't ban it from happening ever again.
Yeah, it's not... Yeah, no, that's actually... We'll get into that, though. There's some conversations about that already. But let's go ahead and get into that first tab I've got there. You can see the Supreme Court, babe. You want to read off those list of decisions? You don't have to read the whole thing, just the subjects of the decisions they came out with.
Did you want to introduce your guests today?
Oh, I got John and Logan back here in studio. I got Darth John right here and Gay Logan over there. I started the show a little late because I noticed Gay Logan's dress, the shoulders were coming off and falling down. It was very inappropriate, so I had to get him modest before we started the show. My wife's dying back there laughing about this.
The kids thought Dad needed some guests on the show because we're missing John and Logan. Hopefully they'll be back soon.
Hopefully they will be back soon. John should be back here in a month or so. Logan a little bit longer because, well, he left a little later too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, scroll on down. Let's look at those decisions real quick. So, we got a couple Supreme Court decisions that happened. Scroll down. Yep. Open that up. There we go. So the birthright citizenship case, the Supreme Court really screwed up on the birthright citizenship case. And just because the Supreme Court comes out with a decision doesn't mean it's the right decision. Eventually this will be overturned. It's inevitable to be overturned at some point in the future. It's just they were looking for a way to find the status quo, and they did that by selling out the country.
But we can't financially afford everyone to keep coming here, having their kids, and then claiming all these benefits for their child that's a citizen.
Yeah.
That's where they should say, you get benefits for the child, but no one else in the household gets a single thing.
Well, the thing is, though, they talked about, in, I believe, the oral arguments, about the birth tourism issue. Mm-hmm. And so the Supreme Court ruled, yes, American citizenships are for sale. And it was such a bad decision by the Supreme Court that one of the three justices, Justice Clarence Thomas, very well known as a man of very little words, he actually wrote his own dissenting opinion, which he doesn't do very often. And what was it, like 90-something pages? You want to look up how long was Justice Thomas's dissenting opinion on birthright citizenship? It was like 90-something pages. Because his argument was that this cheapens American citizenship. It devalues it. Because now people can just purchase it. When really, the whole point of the 14th Amendment was to give citizenship to slaves who had been born here, who were raised here, who have lived here their whole life, and then many of them who actually fought to abolish slavery with the Union. Yeah, right there. It was 91 pages long. A man of very few words who has written probably less words than most other justices ever came out with a 91-page dissenting opinion. His dissenting opinion was longer than, I believe, the concurring opinion, and I think it was longer than most of the other. I think one justice did a concurring opinion with the ruling, and then another two justices wrote their own dissenting opinion. His, I think, might have been longer than at least two of those things combined.
It says making it more than two and making it 3.5 times longer than the majority opinion itself.
3.5 times longer than the majority opinion itself. Gosh damn. A man of few words has basically almost doubled the amount of words he's written in his entire career, basically. He does not do this very often. He was very pissed off about it, and I agree with him. He's probably the one on the Supreme Court I agree with the most on a lot of issues.
Well, and as we've seen, someone shared a picture, supposedly, I'm not sure how old the post is, but they had birthright citizenship little on a billboard in Latin America.
Yeah.
$5,000 will get you to America to have your baby.
Yeah, and that's $5,000 for basically $5,000 for American citizenship and chain migration. Effectively. Like, hey, $5,000 we'll get you in there to deliver your baby, then you can start chain migration. Pretty much. Which is horseshit. We should not be selling American citizenships in this way. Mm-hmm. And there are pathways to just purchase U.S. citizenships. I believe Trump had released a gold card, which is like $50,000 or more, to basically just fast track your way into the U.S. I think it's way more than 50 though.
Might be 100,000.
It might be 100 or 200,000. I know it's meant because a lot of countries actually have it. It's meant as a way for like wealthy businessmen to just fast track their way into a country because they want them to bring all of their wealth and equity. Look up Trump's immigration gold card. Something like that. Gold immigration gold card. For $15,000 DHS processing fee, approval contribution of $1 million receive U.S. residency. So basically, it's $15,000 for the processing, and then $1 million. I think what it was is it's investments into the U.S. And then you can get residency. So not even citizenship, just residency. And that's mainly for businessmen.
$1 million non-refundable gift to the Treasury.
Okay, so it's not even investment. It's just straight up, here's a non-refundable gift to the U.S. Treasury.
And corporations can sponsor employees with a $2 million payment per person. They should do that with all the people that bring it over to take care of that auto plant that's down in Georgia or something.
Oh,
where they
yeah.
kicked all the employees out? Another one of those visas?
No, it was all the Korean employees they had because it was, I think it was it Honda?
It was something, but they had them all come over on a visa.
Well, no, it was all Korean immigrants except they ended up sending all of them back except one. One of them was like, no, I want to stay here. It wasn't that they were illegal. I think they were overstayed. Is what it was. So technically illegal, but they were like overstayed, and one of them decided he wanted to stay and just work out the process to stay in the U.S.
Yeah, but the company didn't pay very much to get them all here. They didn't pay very much for their visas because it was when Biden was being very lax.
Yeah. If you wonder what I'm drinking, it's Dr. Stripe, so a Shasta. But it's homemade ice cream, so basically a Dr. Pepper float. For the most part.
It's not Shasta. It's just a knockoff from Dollar Tree.
Oh, it's not even Shasta. It's a Dollar Tree knocked off.
But I don't mind. It has a little bit stronger cherry flavor.
No, yeah, it's actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get back to the
$15,000 non-refundable.
Well, that's the processing fee. Mm-hmm. That was, I think, already there. Yeah. It's the $1 million extra. So the birthright citizenship case ruled completely wrong. Basically, they just said if you were born on the U.S., you have American citizenship.
They weren't even paying attention to the part that says your you're subjugated to the jurisdiction thereof.
Yeah.
None of them are.
Well, that's the debate, is what does that actually mean? And the thing is that the intent is that it wasn't to give citizenship to everyone, because they specifically wrote it to exclude Native Americans because they weren't seen as being part of the U.S. So even if they were born in the U.S., they wouldn't have U.S. citizenship.
Diplomats that come over with their families.
Foreign diplomats are excluded and whatnot. But long term, though, it is possible even to get rid of this ruling without a Supreme Court overturning it. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote his own opinion. Either he wrote his own opinion or he wrote the dissenting opinion. And he actually laid out, basically go through the legislature, pass a law that abolishes it, and it's gone. Because that's kind of the whole point of our system, is if you have the presidency and the legislature that agree on something, the Supreme Court really can't overrule it.
Because you need 2 out of the 3 to agree.
Well, the thing is how it works is basically any one branch can stop another branch from doing something, but 2 branches together can force the hand of the third branch. And so basically what it is this is what the amendment says, and all they have to do is pass a law defining the terms in that amendment, thus eradicating this decision. Because now, by law, this is how it's supposed to be read.
Yeah, because we're going to have more of the problems we're already seeing, where they raise the Somali flag above the city hall in Minnesota. It's happening in other places. People are doing the exact same thing. You have people in California.
Those people are not people we want having U.S. citizenship.
You have other people in California that are saying, I'm a Guatemalan. I support Guatemala before I'm an American. It's like, then leave this country.
Guatemala is a beautiful country. I've been there. And, if you want to support Guatemala more than the U.S., then get the hell out of our country and go back to Guatemala.
That's where
and quite frankly, I'm on the side where we need to abolish all immigration into the U.S. for like a period of 10 to 15 years. And it's for a couple of reasons. One, we've been brain draining the rest of the world. Just anyone with any kind of education has been sucked into the United States, and we've been pulling them away from their own country. And the nice thing about that is it has benefited us, but the bad thing about that is there's a lot of countries that would probably be a little better now if they still had those people in their country. So I think it's better for everyone in the world if we just cut off immigration into the U.S. and the U.S. just works on its own issues. And we work on our own problems. We've got problems we got to solve before we try to help the rest of the world solve their damn problems.
Yeah,
and if we stop bringing all their intelligent people out of their country into here, we might actually solve some of their problems, because now their people stay there and try to improve their own country. Mm-hmm. So, terrible decision. Justice Kavanaugh gave us a roadmap on how to overturn their decision outside of the Supreme Court. So we got 2 pathways. Either another lawsuit that gets brought forth where makes better arguments to convince the other justices how stupid they were, or we just get a law passed making sure those terms are defined by law, and now all of a sudden the Supreme Court decision is null and void. So there's that. And out of it, we got to see Clarence Thomas pissed off with 91 pages. So, next one.
But what do you think?
Yeah.
People need to decide who they're going to support. You can love your home country, but you need to decide if you're going to be here in America. You need to 100% support America. Mm-hmm. And we have too many people where they want to send all their resources back to their home country. Then go back to your home country.
Yeah. So, next one. Campaign finance. No. Next Supreme Court decision.
I know.
My fair lady. All right. Campaign finance. Basically, it's a nothing burger. The justices struck down parts of the Federal Election Campaign Act, ruling that restrictions on a political party's coordinated spending with candidates violate the First Amendment. That is accurate, but if we're being honest, it's a nothing burger ruling, because they were probably already finding ways around to still be able to coordinate anyways. So it's probably not even going to change anything, because both parties were probably already coordinating when they weren't supposed to beforehand. And now it's just legalized because they're probably doing it anyways. Mm-hmm. Then the second terrible ruling the Supreme Court released, they just basically they said we have no country. No, up one. They said we had no country with the birth certificate, birthright citizenship bullcrap, and now they say we have no elections. Basically, the court ruled unanimously, kind of. It's not really unanimous. There were separate concurring decisions that were written where they differed on points, but they concurred in general concept. They basically ruled we have no elections. In Watson v. Republican National Committee, the federal law does not prohibit states from counting absentee ballots that are postmarked by Election Day but received several days afterwards.
But I think absentee is different than
This is an AI overview. I'm pretty sure it's just mincing words because it doesn't know what the hell it's talking about. Because the ruling was about the mass mail-in ballots coming in and being counted weeks after the election. The decision ended up giving liberal states whatever they want when it comes to elections, because they can be like, oh well, we will finalize the election within 1 week after the final ballot, and then right before that timeline's up, boom, oh sorry, we just found more ballots, we have to extend it by another week. Oh, we found more ballots, we have to extend it by another week. There's no elections as long as they keep finding ballots. The elections will never close until they effectively win. So there's no such thing as legitimate elections in the U.S. anymore.
That reminds me of an article we didn't pull up about Wisconsin. They had this certain city where they sent out duplicate ballots. So people already had one set of ballots sent out, the original. They had a duplicate set sent out. 152 ballots. Yeah. It's now been revealed. The thing
about this, why I'm pissed off about the decision, is the Constitution is very, very clear. It says election day. It doesn't say election week. It doesn't say election month. It doesn't say election year. It says election day. And somehow Amy Coney Barrett was able to write out that day doesn't mean day. So basically 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4. 3 plus 5 doesn't equal 8. It doesn't matter. And she basically broke math with her rule, the way she wrote it. That these things don't actually mean what they mean anymore, which is horseshit. Day means day, month means month. We have words for a reason, they mean things. And we can't just go and just redefine our terms just so you can keep the status quo over horseshit. The next one was the Federal Reserve ruling. This one is kind of horseshit, basically, because they just recently had another ruling that allowed President Trump to fire federal employees. And now all of a sudden they're like, no, you can fire other federal employees, but you just can't fire this one, who is a federal employee, still paid the same way. You just can't fire this one. Honestly, the only correct and moral decision that they could have come to on the Federal Reserve case of him firing the head of the Federal Reserve was not that he could fire her. The moral decision and the correct decision was, the Federal Reserve itself is not legal and it is hereby abolished by Supreme Court order and is to be dissolved immediately. That would have been the only good outcome in this whole thing, is abolishing the Federal Reserve, because it shouldn't even exist. Congress does not have the power. It was not given the power to delegate its authority and its duties. It should not be delegating its duties out to the Federal Reserve to regulate our currency. And it's why our freaking currency is so damn worthless, is because of the Federal Reserve. On a good note, though, the next one, Title IX. Basically, women's sports means women's sports. Women's locker room means women's locker room. The Supreme Court upheld state bans on transgender women and girls participating in female sports divisions, ruling that they do not violate the 14th Amendment. So basically, now women don't have to worry about getting literally beaten up by a man in women's sports. So it's like if they're playing hockey, they don't have to worry about getting punched in the face or freaking checked by their stick when they're playing against other women. Because they'll only be playing against other women. They're not going to be playing against a man who doesn't even think, he's just pretending to be a woman. So, and also, in case you didn't know, there is a case in the courts right now that is challenging it on a nationwide basis. So the next Supreme Court case will be to decide whether or not, instead of a state being able to ban it, whether or not the Supreme Court itself will actually ban it. So there is a possibility we could see trans women, so men, being kicked out of sports on a nationwide basis. So that's a good thing. Hopefully we can get that one, but if not, at least we can ban it in our own states. And maybe we'll just have to create our own new, new organizations for actually running interstate competitions between universities if we have to, or professional sports, if they won't ban it for their organization itself. And then, of course, the Supreme Court made another good ruling. Second Amendment one. The court ruled that prosecuting individuals for possessing a gun at home while being an unlawful user of controlled substances violates the Second Amendment. So basically, if marijuana is banned on a federal level, like it is right now, you cannot own a firearm, period. However, now thanks to the Supreme Court ruling, if you are using marijuana because you're using it as a prescription for pain while going through chemo treatment, now you don't lose your right to keep and bear arms. Because, well, it wasn't your choice to get cancer. It was your choice to use the marijuana as a way to treat some of your issues. But that choice is no longer voiding your right to keep and bear arms. You still have a right to defend yourself with that weapon. So, congratulations to all those people, our lovely potheads out there. Being able to actually keep and bear their arms, babe. What do you think? Like it? No? Don't care? She doesn't care. Alright, that's it for the Supreme Court. Let's get on to Utah news. BLM. So I mentioned it in the beginning. Utah had banned fireworks across the state because of the drought and how dry it is. BLM, though, opened up the Bonneville salt flats because there's nothing that can catch on fire out there in that salty hellhole. And we got at least a few thousand people, I think, probably. I heard that it said that there were thousands, but a bunch of people going out to the salt flats. So hit up that next tab. This is just an article from KUTV about some people being volunteers going out there to help with the cleanup to make sure we get it all nice and clean afterwards. And, well, it did happen. That next tab, there's a video there we can watch real quick.
This one?
Nope, next tab. Yep, hit play. So, Bonneville Salt Flats. There you go. There were some fireworks here in Utah, at least. I think some of the cities still did their fireworks. But besides that, personal fireworks were banned. And at least you could go to the salt flats. So, yeah, you can see all sorts of fireworks way out there in the distance. And then you got the ones close by. So, there was a lot of people out there. A lot of people out there having some fun on the 4th of July on the salt flats. Bonus side, with it being so flat, babe, you can see the fireworks that everyone's doing.
Yep.
And there's no trees in the way.
That is true.
What is that? Is that Highway 80? Is that I-80 right there?
I'm not sure. It looks
I
like...
can't remember if I-80 goes through the salt flats or not.
There is might not be a highway, might be a state route that goes by there.
It's whatever. I'm pretty sure it's the route that goes out to Wendover. I've been on it once. We went on it going out to Tahoe for that trip with your sister. Remember?
I think so.
Yeah.
Quite a while ago.
So, At least there were some fireworks. It's kind of fun seeing that.
Yep.
A lot of people pulled over.
Mm-hmm. Well, because a lot of us were not going to get to see fireworks any other way unless you watched an old recording.
Yeah, I did see some fireworks going off illegally. I didn't... I swear I did not call the police or anything. You can go ahead and hit X on that Facebook one. Yeah, we ran out a little too long. We almost had... Who knows? We could have gotten a really bad one.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Alright, next tab. So, Springville officer on duty, DUI charge dismissed. So this one I brought in here because we actually talked about this a while ago.
Yeah.
The Springville police officer was drunk driving. He was intoxicated technically while on duty.
Well, he showed up on duty drunk.
Yeah.
And that's when they arrested him.
So he was arrested. It was a sheriff that pulled him over. The breathalyzer and all the on-site tests they did, including the breathalyzer, said he was over the legal limit. So he was arrested, and then blood results came back, and the blood results said that he was below the legal limit. So whatever you choose to believe, I'm guessing the blood test is more accurate, so they dismissed the charges. So he's probably getting his job back. My problem is that there is even a legal limit for officers, period.
Well, they also, in that article, it talked about he had been drinking earlier that day. He admitted it before he showed up for his shift.
Yeah.
So that was a problem.
Yeah. My problem is that there is even a legal limit for officers. You guys should basically be dry. If you're an officer, you should be dry all the time. Period. You shouldn't even be allowed to drink alcohol. If there is even I don't know why there is even a legal limit for officers. The only legal limit they should have is 0. 0 alcohol in your system while you're on duty, period. So, he'll probably get his job back. I hope that there will be legislation making the legal limit for officers 0. I'm willing to compromise at half of what it is for anyone else, but the legal limit should be 0.
Yeah.
Now, if you're gonna walk around all haughty with a gun on your hip, pulling people over, possibly getting in arguments with them, you should not have any alcohol in your system at all. So, there's that. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yep, you need to be careful. You need to not be drinking,
the best way
when you're showing up for work.
Yeah, the best way not to be drunk is to never drink.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Because at one of our jobs, we had someone escorted off the grounds because they were drunk.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not safe.
My current foreman, he used to be an alcoholic. Well, most alcoholics that used to be alcoholics say you're always alcoholics, you're just sober. But he used to have a lot of problems with that, and he's long past it now, and he's got lots of stories of exactly why you should just never do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what story is that? Like, what's one of the...
Oh, I'm not going to share them, but he's got lots of stories in general of why you should never do it. All right, let's hit up that next tab.
Lives, you risk your own life.
Yeah. So, good news. I believe the Iron Cherry fires actually are now 100% contained. So, the weather we've been getting lately has been good, even though it has been a little windy in cases. We've been getting rain. It's been helping out, and so I believe it's 100% contained now. So, that's why we're not having all that smoke going over our houses anymore. We had ash falling down here at our place for a while.
Yep.
So, in case you wanted to know, the fire near Eureka is out, or not. At least if it's not out, it is contained, and it's now the finishing stages for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried there for a little bit because we do have friends and family that are out in that area too.
Yeah, I hope they're okay.
They are. They're not out in Eureka, but they were more in the path of more of the ash, and there was a worry that it might continue going further, but it didn't.
Yep,
which is good.
Thing.
So next tab.
What about this part? Centerville police prepare for possible teen takeovers during Freedom Festival. Adults, you need to get control of your teenage children.
Well, what does that even mean?
The same that's been happening all over the country. Teens are fighting, taking over neighborhoods, jumping on people's cars. You have a whole flock of teens in an area, so the police can't quite control them. They're running down the streets, causing mayhem, doing who knows what.
Yeah, I got no clue. So, I don't know anything about... Well, I do know some about that. I've seen some of that, but I haven't paid as much attention to that as other issues.
Yeah, but that's just not good. It's not dangerous. They've seen videos of them jumping on people's cars, dancing on the cars, stepping all over your car. Do you want a bunch of dents in your hood?
Definitely not. No. Or at least that's not around here, but yeah.
That's in Centerville, so it's starting to
I haven't heard anything about it, so I imagine it ended up just being a nothing burger. Kind of like that campaign finance Supreme Court ruling. It's a nothing burger.
Hopefully, who knows?
All right. Let's go ahead, hit up that next tab. So, something I figured we'd talk about is the way Utah has affected the U.S. 250 years of history here in the U.S. now. We are 250 years old. We're still the best in the world. We were the best in the world back then, even though no one else admitted it until now. And thanks to the World Cup series, a lot of people are admitting it's the best place on earth now. So let's scroll on down. We got a few various things that have happened here in the U.S. Scroll down.
Just where?
Just scroll down. You'll see. So keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. Here we go. Up. So Seraph, I believe, or Seraph Young, cast a historic vote. So Seraph Young was the first woman in the U.S. to vote because Utah actually gave rights to women to vote before the rest of the U.S. by a good amount, actually. Utah made history on February 14th, 1870, where Mrs. Young became the first woman in the country to cast a vote. It was a quiet moment that helped change the course of women's rights in the United States. After Congress stepped in and took away Utah women's rights to vote in 1887, Utah women built allies with men in the territorial legislators. So we weren't even a state at the time. We just gave women the right to vote in our state. Then Congress got all uppity about it, banned women from voting, but then Utah became a state and we actually put the right of women to vote in our state constitution, and Congress approved it. And, well, if they didn't want women to vote, that was their problem because they approved it in our Constitution, so it was gold stamped. It was gold stamped at that point. They can't stop it. So, if you don't like women voting, you can blame us. We started it.
Yeah, that's your opinion?
No, I don't really care. I honestly, it's like when it comes down to it, I think the best way to go about it is if you don't have children, you shouldn't be able to vote.
And why is that?
Well, for one, men tend to work jobs more than women, so we do actually pay into taxes more than women statistically. But regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, if you have children, you have someone to leave the country for. And you look at the statistics on women's voting in general, women who have children vote very differently than women who don't have children. And I think it's because they are thinking of their children. What are we leaving behind for our children? And so, quite frankly, like if we're going to put any bar for voting, it might be that you have to have children. Because if you don't have children, what are you leaving the country for? Why are you voting for these policies or those policies? That's kind of my take on that. Regardless of men or women, you have children, then you can vote.
My problem is with this whole entire situation is they will construe it to if you've ever been pregnant, then all the women who have had abortions will qualify to vote.
Yeah, well.
I'm just saying the truth. They will construe it that kind of way.
Let's be honest, though. If you're willing to kill your own child, you're probably willing to kill an entire generation. So, we'll do our best not to include those. All right. Scroll on down. We got some more. Yeah, that's my daughter. She doesn't know how to talk quietly. She got my voice. All right. Salt Lake police officer devises the first traffic light. Scroll on down. There's a picture of it on here. Right there. There's that very first traffic light that ever existed in the U.S. I can't remember his name. It's on there somewhere. So Salt Lake City police officer was the one. With the chaos of having horse-drawn carriages and vehicles now on the road, and having our trolleys that we had there in Salt Lake, because you can see all the overhead cables for the trolley. Mm-hmm. Instead of having an officer step in, he came up with this idea for a traffic light, a single post with red and green lights in the middle of the intersection, and people just do what the light tells them to do, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And it worked out. He was actually mocked a lot over it for that first one, but he got the last laugh because it's everywhere in the country, and not just the country. He changed the entire world when it comes to traffic laws with this.
The thing I was thinking about is here in this picture. You have these tracks.
Mm-hmm, that's our trolley.
Yep, that might be the same tracks that our track system uses.
Yeah, it is.
Which is nice.
Yeah, a lot of the old trolley system was incorporated into the tracks. The only difference though is like Trolley Square is now a mall instead of actually being the trolley station.
Yeah.
So there's some differences now, but yeah. No, a lot of the old trolley system was incorporated into now the UTA tracks across Utah County. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, you're right on that. Except now, the nice thing is we don't have all those ugly ass overhead cables. They
have one cable that runs right where the tracks goes, because that's how it gets its power.
No.
I thought they had that still.
No, I don't think they do overhead cables anymore. I think it's all through the tracks.
Okay, because I thought they had it just specifically for the tracks itself.
I don't think so. I think it's completely off of the overhead cable. I'm pretty sure it's completely off the overhead cable now.
Okay.
I think. There might be a few spots, but I'm pretty sure it's off the overhead cable.
Okay.
I don't know. Now I'm questioning myself on it. Whatever. Next, let's go on down. Zion National Park. Started out as Zion National Monument, became Zion National Park, went from thousands of people a year to now millions of people a year visit one of the big 5 here in Utah. We have 5 national parks in our state, and Zion's is the biggest of them, and it runs on a deficit. Every single state park in Utah runs on a budget neutral or budget surplus. They manage very well. But Zion National Park runs on a deficit, which means we should just get it back from the federal government and just run it ourselves in the state. I guarantee you it would be balance neutral, at least, inside a year. Because we just run our parks really well. Mm-hmm. They're very low maintenance. They're very well organized.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, Zion National Park. I don't know when it was founded. I don't care. It's a great park, though. You should go to it. I don't care when it was founded. But it's a destination anyone should go to.
But isn't there another park close by to it that's pretty popular?
I don't know. I know
Bryce Canyon?
Oh, yeah. Bryce Canyon's not far away from it.
And I think Goblin Valley's down south, too.
I know it's down south. I'm not sure how close it is to Zion, though.
Yeah.
Goblin Valley, though, if you ever watched, is it Galaxy Quest? Galaxy Quest, that planet they go on with all the little aliens that want to bite their faces off.
And like the balls that are on top of these small little pillars.
Yep, that's Goblin Valley. It's not as dense with all those unique rock formations. They added a lot of fake ones in, but the rock formations that are there are just like that.
Yeah.
No, Goblin Valley is freaking awesome. I love that place. It's so cool. All right. Next one. The driest state in the Union frickin' played the important role in ending Prohibition in the 1930s. So Prohibition happened. Everyone was still drinking alcohol. It was just illegal. And they came to a vote to actually amend the Constitution to get rid of Prohibition. And you need 3/4 of the states to vote to end the Prohibition. And we were the last state necessary to vote to end Prohibition. So, if you do drink alcohol out there, you're welcome. And if you don't, you're also welcome because you still have beer battered fish. So, you're welcome.
Well, and also vanilla, because you need vodka for making vanilla.
Well, no, yeah, but you could still make alcohol back then. It just had to be for purposes like that, making vanilla extract or industrial purposes.
Yeah, but how many people knew how to make it?
Everyone in the damn country. That's how we got NASCAR.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, who knew how to make it properly and have access to the vanilla beans?
Well, have access to vanilla beans? No, but everyone knew how to make the alcohol. The whole damn country knew how to make the alcohol. Almost the whole country still knows how to make alcohol. It's like the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make fruit juice, let it ferment. Boom. Pretty much it. All right. Utah Olympian takes the world stage. I don't know too much about her, but in general, though, Park City, Utah is well known for globally for coming to train for the Olympics. I do know our Olympics, or at least I believe our Olympics were in 2012, was it?
Yeah, it's been a while.
They were the first Olympics to actually be budget positive, not negative. All the others were a negative and subsidized by the government. But when ours were about to fail, Mitt Romney, a rhino piece of crap, but Mitt Romney, a businessman, stepped in and helped out, and we were able to make it a success and also make it budget positive, so it wasn't a failure.
And we still have a bunch of the features from that Olympics, or a lot of the facilities are still in use.
Well,
so that's what they're planning to do for the next Olympics.
That's the key, is the next Olympics for the U.S. is being held in Utah. And one of the other places being considered was Los Angeles. But the problem, though, is down there, they did not maintain all the new infrastructure they built for it, all the facilities specifically for the Olympics and whatnot. So what ended up happening is since they didn't take care of it, it's all in ruin pretty much. It's in bad shape. But then they go and look at Salt Lake, and it's like, oh, Salt Lake is all of the stuff that we built for the Olympics is still in good condition. They're still maintaining it, and it's still being used.
It's being used.
So it's like, if we just do it in Salt Lake, we don't have to do anything. It's all ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's like, bonus side to taking care of the stuff you get is you get more opportunities like this. So the Olympics are coming back to Utah because of that. All because we just did it the smart way. Scroll on down. I can't remember if this is the last one or not.
That's it.
That looks like it's it. All right. You got anything else, babe?
I was just talking about the ballot issue. That got cut off. Let me see. What else? Oh, there is going to be, or there already is in the ground, a time capsule.
Oh, yeah.
They put a
time capsule in Philadelphia for the 250th birthday of the U.S. It's meant to be opened up in another 250 years for our 500th birthday if our country survives. I bet not. Not the way it's going right now with no borders and no elections, the way the Supreme Court ruled.
I know. And also other things we've discussed on this channel that we're concerned about. Certain people want to rip our country apart. If it keeps going the route it's going, we might be gone and it'd be a third world country within 30 years.
Yeah, our country will be a third world country in like 30 years if we keep getting all the third world coming in.
We're looking at Europe. They're falling apart very quickly, and if we're not careful, we're going to be right down the same boat. Right
Yeah,
now,
but you know what? To be fair, I do have a lot of hope for our future. There's a lot of good things that can happen, and I'll make the prediction right now. I was telling you about it. I'll make the prediction right now. Utah will be the center of Christianity.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we already discussed we're worried about Europe falling, so there might be another strong European country.
Yeah.
Strong
The question.
country that stands firm.
The question I think Utah will be the center of Christianity. The question is why? Is it because Utah grows that much influence, or because Rome is fallen?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I agree with the Pope to be friendly, but he's being way too friendly with Islam. That's
well, there's
not
a
good.
difference between being kind and helpful to those who need it and allowing people to come into your nation who hate you.
Yeah, and they say so. That movie you're talking about last time in Germany that was not being allowed to be released.
Oh, yeah.
Elon Musk released it,
So,
apparently in the
Elon
UK.
Musk did exactly... I'm sorry to interrupt you, babe, but Elon Musk did exactly what I predicted he would do. Go ahead, sorry. Finish what you're saying.
But in the UK, I guess that movie, the Muslim groups are saying, you should not be allowed to show this at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they're getting pissed off that it's going to be getting shown in Europe.
So if you don't know what
England.
happened with Germany, is a group made a documentary of a gang rape that happened by a bunch of Muslims against 2 teenage girls. And they did a documentary on this. Germany banned it before it even came out because they knew that if it was shown, because it's a documentary of these 2 young German girls, there would probably be violence in the street against Muslims in their country. And the thing is, it's the government's fault because they're letting people in that they're not even vetting. They're not checking to see if these are even people you want in your country. Because not every Muslim's a criminal. That's not true. Not everyone's a terrorist.
Yeah.
But the problem, though, is they're letting all this mass immigration from the Middle East into their country without vetting these people properly. Because there's a lot of them who are legitimate refugees who want to find safety, but then there's a lot of them who are taking advantage of the system to get into a country where they can now cause problems.
But
And it's the government's fault in Germany for it. So what Elon Musk did, because they banned it, is he then published the movie on Twitter for everyone to watch in Germany. And that was exactly what I predicted Elon Musk would do when he bought Twitter, and he also has Starlink. And this is why when he first got Starlink and then bought out, he had Starlink and then he bought out Twitter. When he did that, and the reason why all those countries that you saw going against him, funding campaigns against him, trying to block it and whatnot, it was because of that. What he did in Germany. He is the one person in the world right now who actually possesses the power to topple governments on his own. Period. Every other billionaire has to get in bed with the CIA or whatever organization to get the influence they need to topple governments. Elon Musk can do it on his own. He's a trillionaire now. And it's all because of SpaceX. Because now he can remotely choose to give people internet. And then with Twitter, he can give everyone access to all the information he wants to give them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can say, well, one man shouldn't have that kind of power over free speech. But Elon Musk, luckily, is the kind of guy who is one of those he's not quite free speech absolutist, but he's pretty close. Especially for a billionaire, that's pretty rare. What do you expect from an autistic guy who shoots rockets into space? So, this is what they were scared about when he acquired Twitter.
Yeah.
I predicted he was going to use that to subvert governments, and that's what he just did. He subverted the laws of Germany to give the people of Germany free access of information over something the government didn't want them to see, which was this documentary these people made about that gang rape that happened in Germany against those 2 teen girls.
Well, the sad part is we have had articles coming out about the UK, specifically England, admitting or discussing, that around 250,000 girls were gang raped since like the late 90s to now.
Yeah, and it's terrible.
The sad part is, I just saw a couple articles recently, and this is only a couple weeks after that.
Mm-hmm.
They have right now, within 2 weeks, possibly 40 girls that are between 13 and like 16 years of age missing. In 2 weeks, 40 girls. Are they locked up in someone's basement?
Yeah, no,
the one group's basement?
They're packed up and used in all sorts of freaking sexual crimes is what's happening.
That's what I'm worried about. These 40 girls that have
These
gone
girls
missing.
aren't missing. There are people who know exactly where they are because they're the ones abusing them.
And the sad part is, it says these are the only ones that have been reported to be missing.
Yeah.
There could be more.
Yeah. No, it's terrible. And that's the thing. I predicted, this is before we even doing the podcast, long before. I had predicted, my friends, he was going to do this with Twitter, well now X, with X and with SpaceX with the Starlink program. He can now, if he wants, he could now give anyone in North Korea who has a cell phone access to unrestricted internet and then give them all the information they could ever use or need against their own regime. He has the power to topple governments with those two things together, SpaceX and X, now formerly Twitter. That's why there's so many people in the American government who hated him and wanted to get rid of him on both the Democrat and Republican side, because it was about the establishment, not about party. This was about the establishment people who were in power, in the CIA, in all these organizations, in USAID, that Trump and Elon Musk got shut down. It was about power and influence, and now, like frickin' Tony Stark, the reason they were pissed off at him in the movie is because he privatized world peace. And that's what he did. Elon Musk privatized free speech. He made it so no government can now control free speech because he has the power to give it. And when these countries are trying to restrict it, he can now guarantee those people have the ability. Because free speech isn't just about being able to say what you want. It's also about being able to hear what you want. Mm-hmm. And so that was just the tip of the iceberg of the power he now has. And now with SpaceX being public and now him being worth over $1 trillion, it's going to end for a lot of these established folks. And you already see it ending when they got rid of USAID. Because USAID, all of a sudden USAID gets shut down. And what happens? Oh, now all of a sudden these right-wing figures now suddenly start actually succeeding at the same time in their elections in South America. Oh, now all of a sudden rap for some reason is no longer the main genre. It's no longer the top genre. It's now another genre. You see a lot of their money was going all over the place. Look at USAID gets shut down. What happens? Democrats go from millions to almost even over $1 billion of dollars in the bank for their campaigns, and now they're $3 million in debt. Before the elections have even started, they're $3 million in debt. Mm-hmm. They don't have the money. So it's like the USAID was just a place to funnel money into the establishment campaigns, not just Democrat, but Republican as well. The only reason Republicans are surviving is because of the MAGA coalition in the Republican Party that is supporting grassroots efforts on the Republican side. Democrat side, now all of a sudden it's not the establishment winning. Who's winning all these elections? Oh, it's the far left progressives. I don't want them winning either, but that's the thing. USAID isn't funding these guys anymore, so now all the far left progressives are winning.
Yep. That's the sad part.
What is that? Oh, freaking they want a subscription. No, I saw you bringing this up. So first, entirely lab-grown whole milk. First of all, not whole milk. We need to regulate that right away.
I know.
You should not be calling lab-grown meat whole or lab-grown milk whole milk. First of all,
The sad part is
whole milk should be. It's like Parmesan in Europe. You cannot use the word Parmesan at all for any imitation Parmesan. It cannot use that name. Period. Parmesan is regulated. This is the definition of Parmesan. It is this cheese made from this region, made in this specific way. We should make sure the labeling of if lab grown milk is sold in the US, it should be labeled as lab grown milk.
the reason why I brought this up. This has slipped underneath everyone's radar. This was published February 24th of last year. So it could already be easily accessible in the United States. We don't know.
Yeah.
And we don't want lab-grown meat because what's it made from? You've said it's from cancer cells.
I believe
basically.
it's technically not cancer cells, but it's like they're related. It's related to cancer cells. Because the problem is they need a cell that will continually keep splitting. And normal cells don't do it, but cancer cells do. But there is a gray area that they're not cancer cells, but they do keep regrowing like cancer cells.
So here it is. According to the founders of Unreal Milk, it is going to be produced using mammalian cell culture, replicating the nutrient, taste, and texture of traditional dairy. It can be processed into butter, cheese, and ice cream. So it could be in any of those kind of dairy products we get eventually.
First of all, lower carbon and cruelty-free alternative. First of all, if you've seen modern dairy farms, they are not cruel.
Yeah.
They are not. What is it? It's like
they want the cows happy to keep.
No, there's this
producing.
one farmer. He does a lot of shorts. He does a lot of shorts, and he's actually a dairy farm, and they have robotic milkers. And they don't force the cows to go in there and milk. They want to go in there and milk because when they aren't being milked, it does get uncomfortable. And so it's like they do want to relieve the pressure buildup from the milk. And then when they go into the machine, they get a snack, a special treat as well. Like, they're not cruel. The only place where you're talking about actual cruelty in these dairy farms are going to be your big corporation farms. Which even then, that's not very common anymore. Or you're talking about overseas, in another country, in some hellhole where they don't care.
Yeah, but they want the cow to be happy. If they're stressed, they're not going to produce milk very well.
That's the other thing. It's like you hear about women not being able to produce milk for their babies all the time because of increased factors like stress in their life.
And they're not eating a good diet.
Yeah. Well, guess what? We're mammals too. These things affect them just as it affects us. They don't want their animals stressed because they are stressed. They may not produce as much.
Yep. So just be careful. It's called Unreal
And
Milk.
nothing pisses me off more when they say lower carbon. Shut up. Stop making carbon dioxide the boogeyman that it isn't. No one believes it anymore. No one cares about it anymore. Carbon dioxide is not a boogeyman. It is good for the environment. It's been proven good for the environment. And the people who actually first discovered the greenhouse gas effect of carbon dioxide, they also knew about the doubling effect where for each increment of temperature that carbon dioxide causes, it takes twice that amount of carbon dioxide to cause the next increment of temperature increase. It doubles every time. Mathematically, it's not possible for it to actually cause the Earth to overheat. It's not possible. And the more carbon dioxide there is in the atmosphere, the majority of the plants we have on Earth right now are type 3 or type 2 photosynthesis. Type 4 exists, which is the most recent evolution of photosynthesis. It's the most water-efficient photosynthesis. I'm saying it too many times in a row to be able to get it right. Type 1 doesn't exist anymore because there's not enough carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to support it. That was back in the dinosaur ages, okay? Whether you believe that's thousands of years ago or millions of years ago, carbon dioxide levels are not high enough to support that biomass right now. Clearly, carbon dioxide levels can be higher. They're the least efficient. They waste the most amount of water to harvest carbon dioxide, and the most efficient is the type 4, which wastes the least amount of water for the carbon dioxide it absorbs. Those types of plants are a lot of your desert plants that actually can survive on very little water. That's most of what your type 4 is desert plants. You increase carbon dioxide levels, you're going to increase the amount of biomass that can actually exist. You will get some warming, but not a lot, not considerable really, but just enough that you could actually end up expanding the tropical zones, which means more biomass, because the tropical zone is where you're getting the majority, or not majority, but the single largest portion of vegetation. And the guys who discovered this originally, all those years ago, their prediction with increased carbon dioxide levels is there would be a little bit of warming, not a lot, but you'd have greater crop yields, greater crop sizes, and increased vegetation across the earth. And what have we seen in 15-year time period? We have seen 15% of the earth get more green. 15% more green. That's the size of the United States. Went from not being able to grow any plants to being able to grow some. That's a huge deal. It's not a. It's you don't realize how much that is until you say the size of the United States, which also means an area the size of the United States also went from being able to grow a few plants to being able to grow a few more plants. An area the size of the United States became arable. We can farm it now.
They've started figuring that out in desert areas. They've been using certain things to keep the soil from moving, getting water into it, and they've been making it now being able to be cultivated and grow. It takes a couple of years.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of terraforming in some deserts across the world because the carbon dioxide levels are high enough to support it. Now the problem is making sure the seeds can take plant. Because some of these areas, it's just sand dunes. And the sands are shifting constantly. And that's the problem with those areas not being able to grow anything like the Sahara.
They were using like either some kind of straw or something, and they're putting it really deep into the ground, and they're doing it in a crisscross. So they're making these small little diamonds. Yeah. So the sand and ground can't move.
I believe I saw the photo. I believe you showed me. So sorry, I had to go on that little rant when I saw that.
What about France or Paris? One of their higher people were complaining that the heating up is caused by us, but China is putting out more emissions than us. By the way,
Europe is literally burning in a different way from Utah because they're having a heat wave. They're pretending it's our fault for some reason, that they don't have air conditioning.
France. Someone higher up in France is blaming it on us.
Yeah, it's not our fault. They aren't intelligent enough in France. Their IQ is so low to not get air conditioning. Not our fault.
At least
that's
in
your fault.
At least in hospitals. Put them in hospitals.
Your people are dying because you guys don't believe in cold air, okay? It's not our problem. It's not our fault. We just have nice things because we're the best on earth in America. You want to be like us? Then get air conditioning. Stop banning. Some countries in Europe are ban people from having air conditioning in their home to protect the environment. Shut up.
Like I told
your people are dying because they're getting hot.
On the last podcast we did, they were finding people sitting in their car with AC going.
Wasn't that in England?
Yes.
Yeah, in England they fined people for frickin' sitting in their car in the AC during the heat wave. Which, by the way, a heat wave in Europe is like a normal day in Georgia, okay?
Yep, but they're not used to that kind of heat, so it can still get them really
because they're pussies. They're not used to that kind of heat because they're pussies. It is what it is. They're a little further north than us, so they need to grow up, basically. But grow up and get some AC. I mean, come on. Why do you think some places like I think your sister in Arizona, her place has 2 AC units because of how hot it gets. One of them can't do the trick.
Yeah, the bigger house.
Not even a bigger house. It gets that damn hot down there that you need that little oomph to get it even to be manageable.
I know.
I wish I had 2 AC units. If I get a second AC unit, it's just going to be for up here. Just here, because it gets hot up here.
I know. That's the part that is sad. You
That's
wish
all right.
it was cooler up here.
I know. It gets hot up here, but that's all right. We'll figure it out.
I'm trying to think. There was something else I was going to bring
Yeah, I know
up
there was something else you wanted to bring up.
in relation to the fake milk that's possibly going to be on the shelves. We have no clue about it.
If the milk doesn't come from a real tit, it's not milk.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't even be able to call it milk. And that goes for almond milk too. I mean, we all know there's no nipples on an almond. Just drop milk. Call it almond juice. Okay, we call it apple juice. We call it cranberry juice. Just call it almond juice. It is what it is. Stop calling it milk, losers. Damn vegans.
I can't quite remember it, but this is another article I pulled up. Is we're putting a time capsule in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about this
Yeah.
that much. This does it. I'm guessing it has a list here of what they put in it.
They might have it on this list or another one. It won't be open for 2,276. But do you think we're going to be around
Probably not.
till then?
We'll see. No, because the second coming will happen before then, so there will be no nations on earth.
We hope so.
It'll just be the kingdom of God. Centered here in Salt Lake because we will be the center of Christianity. That or Jackson, Missouri.
There it is. It's supposed to be a waterproof time capsule, and they said that when the top gets put onto it, screwed into it basically, it's supposed to make it a really good watertight seal. And Philadelphia would have to be under either 4 or 6 feet of water before this would fail. So they supposedly did some good work, so it should last a long time. And they're gonna
I bet it was an environmentalist that said they should do that.
And they're gonna put something on top of it, so it'll be there in Philadelphia, and they will know it is there. And they're gonna be passing it down in their records.
I would hope. I mean, in the modern era, you shouldn't be losing records like that.
Yep, and then people who built it, look at that. And it's gonna have a second container.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Does
So
it say?
state-
Does it say what they put in it?
Which state? Do you want to look at Arizona? American Samoa?
What is this?
You have to look at which state to see what they put in.
Oh, so each state put something in?
Yeah.
Go to Utah. It's probably something lame, huh?
So, set of 8 documents, certificate of 1,000 shares, tickets, and auto pass, set of 9 coins, a set of 3 quarters and a $1 coin, 2 granite discs. I think that's from the temple, possibly.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Set of 8 pins, a prayer medal, and 101 cards of individuals who shaped Utah.
Huh.
The booklet. So, the documents.
What are the documents?
The state of Utah celebrating that. The 225th anniversary. State of Utah House of
250th?
Representatives celebrating it. Federally recognized tribes. And a printout of the historic flag and the new flag. So just some simple things.
The printout of the real flag and the fake flag.
Yeah.
The historic flag is the real flag, and then the new flag is the fake flag. It's not the flag of Utah.
9 coins.
It's trash.
Utah House of Representatives Speaker Mike Schultz. Isn't he on the META board?
Not anymore, because he just lost his primary.
No, that was Adams. That was Adams.
No.
Not Schultz.
Oh, that is Adams. No, yeah, Mike Schultz is on META board.
Yeah.
But he's probably... Oh, okay. I thought it was Adams. No, yeah, Schultz is on the META board as well. But he's probably going to lose his primary whenever he's up for election.
Hopefully, but I talked to you about the transparency about META. We need to look at that information and bring it up. They have a list of legislative changes that they've approved.
Yeah.
And
now we're going to do a whole nother episode specifically on the... on META here, on the MITA here in Utah. Some of the laws and some of the powers they've been given is absolutely absurd. We just need to... I am declaring this moment now. The goal of this podcast, short term, is to eradicate MITA as a state legislative body. It will no longer exist. That is the goal. of this podcast is to abolish MITA.
Because they can do a resort tax. They're supposed to be military stuff. They take care of the armories.
Exactly. They shouldn't be making resorts in the first place.
And one of their...
MITA has gone far beyond what it should have any power to do, and so we will abolish. And that is going to be my personal goal on this podcast, is to eradicate MITA, and anyone associated within the state will be fired or kicked out of office in the next in their elections.
Well,
that is my pet project.
The other thing I saw is they have a specific type of sales tax they get. MITA or MITA gets 50% of it.
Yeah.
They get to keep 50% of the sales tax, and it's just...
Yeah, that's absurd.
We discussed it. They have a golf course and equestrian center in Heber, the Heber Valley. Why do they have that thing?
Yeah.
Your average person does not have a horse or go golfing.
I don't understand why they're doing it. That's my personal goal in this podcast, is to abolish MITA. Period. And anyone in the state who's employed in the agency is fired, and anyone in the legislature who is part of its board or associated with it in any way is kicked out of office. That is my goal.
So, they're going to give...
Number your days, people. I am coming after your jobs.
So here's this. They have a coin for the largest open pit copper mine in the world.
Yeah.
Kennecott Copper Mine.
Well, it's technically not Kennecott Copper Mine anymore. It's the Bingham Canyon Mine.
Yeah.
But anyone who's been in Utah for a long time knows it as Kennecott Copper Mine.
Sons of the American Revolution. This one's interesting to me. So it is the Capitol Quarter Stone and a Salt Lake Temple Stone.
Yeah. And that makes sense. Those are obviously the Capitol. And then obviously the Salt Lake Temple, because it's the most influential building in Utah.
Look at this one. Prayer Medal. George Washington Lord's Prayer Gold Medal given out at Wedding of the Rails. Completion of the Transcontinental Railroad.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm like, they're going to get something like that? They actually have maybe one of those?
Yeah, that's cool.
I know they said something about, I think, Arizona or one of the Native American
if
tribes.
our country goes to shit, at least Utah put some decent stuff in a time capsule for some people to find hundreds of years down the road. So it's like, at least Utah put something decent in there.
I saw from one of the Native American tribes, I can't remember which state it is, they, I guess we're going to try submitting an intricate woven beaded thing.
You know what?
But they restricted them. They said it could not be leather because they're keeping the humidity in this container a set level. It's only allowed to have so much humidity.
Okay. What would just be a funny meme to do is if DC has their own thing they put the Epstein list in the time capsule. You'd get people trying to break into that thing freaking every other day.
Well, I guess the Supreme Court added the pocket constitution signed by the justices.
So basically there's only like 4 justices on there we even care about. The others should all be fired. That's pretty much it. Like that's what it is.
Yeah. PGA Tour. PGA of America. Hockey League. Photos. I'm surprised they didn't put like a jersey or something in there.
Who is this to put this in? Just these organizations?
National Hockey League, yes.
Okay. So just NHL and NFL and the NBA all got to put something in there.
Yeah.
Well, it explains why that time capsule's so big. They got to fit a lot of dumb shit in there from all these organizations.
And Library of Congress, a 1 gigabyte digital archive.
If it even survives, it'll probably be corrupted by the time it gets opened.
Olympic gold medal with collectible Olympic pins attached.
That's cool.
So, it's just interesting what they put in just to show the importance of our time period. Hopefully it survives. Hopefully at least this great country's around in another 250 years. That's all we can hope. But You and I are concerned we'll be in a third world country in within 30 years if we're not careful.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll make that prediction again. I think we will see Salt Lake City, Utah become the center of Christianity. That's my prediction.
I'm just worried we have church houses getting set on fire in Europe. Is that going to start here? And are they going to start trying to set our church houses and temples on fire?
I bet they will.
Anyone's church house
No,
to burn
I
down.
bet they will. And you know what? I don't think it's going to go over very well. I don't think they're going to be able to cover it up here in the U.S. like they did in Europe with Notre Dame. Everyone knows that was started on purpose. Everyone knows it was arson. And they're just covering it up as an accident because they know what it would mean if they admitted the truth.
Yeah, well, their country is getting tired of it. They need to start standing up and saying, no, we're not going to keep having you here.
Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. We canceled it last night, as I said, because I figured most people would be out celebrating, so we're doing it today. You got any last words?
Not as far as I know, but we need to vote. You need to vote in the coming election. We need to make sure your voice is heard.
Yeah, we got to come in the midterm election. Make sure you vote in it. It's less people tend to vote in the midterm, so make sure you get out there and take part. Your vote matters more in the midterms than it does during the general, really, if you think about it. So get out there and vote when it comes up. We have a few things we have to vote for here in Utah, so.
Yep.
Oh, good luck, you guys. Stay happy. Enjoy the rest of this weekend, which is not much longer.
And don't forget to sign off for all three of you.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got Gay Logan here, Darth John, and, well, of course, yours truly, the good old Kyle. You guys have a good night.